What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Freddie. And today's episode is story time with Uncle Frederick. And this is Wrestling with Freddie.
Now stepping up to the mic, the host of Wrestling with Freddie, Freddie Prinze Jr.
On today's episode, we're going to tell, well, I don't know how many stories we're going to tell. There's always a bunch of side quests, but I'm going to try to focus on two stories, and one of which was asked to me on Twitter. So if any of you guys know of anything going on when I work there that you have questions about, feel free to hit me up on social media. That's RealFPJR on Twitter. That's the best way for me to answer wrestling questions. I'm not on Instagram that much. So this question, I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but I'm going to get good at that by season 2, maybe. But he asked about the story of Hade Vansen. And for those of you, there's some like hardcores right now that are like, no friggin' way. Yes, I wrote this with a couple other people, but yes, I wrote this. And yes, it died a horrible death. So we're going to get into that. And for those of you who don't know, it's just a funny story. And then the other story we're going to tell was my worst day in the company. And I'm pretty sure Vince did it to me just as a practical joke. They call it a rib. I was just ribbing you, but man, it sucked. And that was when SmackDown, I think, was on, maybe it was the CW or the UPN. It was a long time ago, and they've changed names a lot more than WWE wrestlers' names. But they made me direct a segment for the Masked Magician because he had a show on the same network and they were trying to cross promote, and he was going to use wrestlers as like the volunteers from the audience. Now we're going to start with this story because for those of you who don't know, I love magic. When I was a little kid, I went to a magic shop here in Los Angeles, California, and saw like some of the best magicians in the world were here. And there was a place called the Magic Castle, and you could go there and eat, and they would perform for you. And these were like top shelf magicians. And I went to a magic shop, and my mom said, you can get one trick, any trick you want. And I looked around at everything, and I didn't look at the back of any of the boxes. I just looked around, and I went back to my mom, and I said, I don't want to get any of these tricks. And she said, why not? And I said, because I don't want to know how they work. And there's a scene from a movie with Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, and they're like dueling magicians. And Christian Bale, I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but he's in love with this woman, and he's doing a magic trick. And this is like the 1800s in England, I believe. And he's doing a bullet catch, which was a spectacular trick because magicians had died doing it. And his wife or his girlfriend doesn't want him to do it. And he says, no, it's perfectly safe. She goes, show me how to do it. He's like, no, I can't show you how I do it. She goes, well, then you can't do it. You have more responsibilities than just yourself now. You have me. We're going to have a child. You have responsibilities that you're a father. He says, all right, if I show you, will you let me do it? She says, okay. He does the bullet catch, and then he reveals the trick that he pulls the bullet from the gun before he ever gives her the pistol to fire. And so it's just wadding. There is no bullet. And he breaks it down. He basically says, the gun is empty. There is no bullet. And she looks at him, and it's almost, instead of relief, it's disappointment. And then she says, oh, well, when you know how it's done, it's not that special, is it? And you can see his heart break the way a woman should have broken his heart. And he says, well, no, it's still pretty dangerous. People can die doing this. And she just like shrugs it off like, yeah, okay, whatever. And that to me was magic, right? I never wanted to know how it was done. It was why I couldn't watch wrestling for about 8 months when I left the company, because I knew all the tricks, and some of the magic had faded away. And it wasn't until my daughter got real into it that I came back sort of full circle. So I'm the perfect guy to direct a segment for a character whose entire gimmick is destroying magicians' careers and exposing all their secrets and all their trade secrets and making magic no longer magic. Like that guy that did that scuzzy John, what was his name? John Moffat? Or no, that's the character from Silence of the Lambs. The New York journalist that got slapped by Dr. D, David Schultz. And there was a wrestler who like gave up the secrets in order to help this story get made. Like, screw that guy and screw the masked magician. His name was like Val Valentine or something. And so, and this may sound hardcore, like, wow, Freddie's really getting on a soapbox for magicians. And I know it is. It's ridiculous. But check this out, man. Like, these men and these women, their entire livelihood is on making you guess, right? How'd he do it? How'd he do it? So all these YouTube videos, all these Instagram videos, and Val Valentine, who started it with his masked magician crap, like that's hurting magicians. It's not getting people more excited about magic, not any more so than they'd be if they saw a magician and wondered how they could do it. No, it's just people putting a spotlight on themselves because they don't have what it takes. They're not the three-dimensional magician. They may just be good at sleight of hand, or they may just be good on the microphone, or maybe they're just funny, but none of the other skills are up to par. And they're mad about that, and they're trying to get their own shine and make money in a new way, but it's destroying the magic business. So now I get to work with this guy. So Vince gives me Maria Kanellis, that is, and Biscuits and Gravy. What were their names? Festus became Luke Gallows, and Gordy's kid. I don't remember. But anyway, their theme music went Biscuits and Gravy. And Festus was this character played by Luke. You guys know him now as Luke Gallows if you watched AEW or the indie scenes now. Shout out to my buddy Angelo who gave him that name. And his character doesn't speak. He was not mute. He was just kind of dumb, right? And just sort of like lobotomized. And then when the bell would ring, this was his gimmick. All right, I'm not saying this was great, but it made me laugh at least. When the wrestling bell would ring, he would like, Rah! And he just beat the crap out of whoever was in front of him. And if the bell rang again, he would go back into his docile, lobotomized state, which doesn't give a long career for a character like that, because the moment someone goes, well, maybe if I just ring the bell again in the middle of the match, then he'll stop and then I can just pin him, which happened. And then the character's magic kind of died, right? I have them as the tag team and Maria Kanellis. And the story is supposed to be that Festus has a crush on Maria. I'm like trying to prevent a migraine while explaining this storyline to you guys. That's how painful this memory is. And they're going to do this magic thing together. The masked magician it's going to be like a date kind of. So I wake up that morning and I feel horrible. I grab a thermometer, take my temperature. I'm 101 degrees. Sick as a dog. There are no sick days at the WWE. You go to work unless you're dead. And even then they'd fire you. He's fired. He didn't show up. Dude, he's dead. Well, he won't care. So he wouldn't do that. So I feel like crap. I take a ton of medicine. I get to work. I get hit with the masked friggin' magician on a segment no one's going to watch, on a segment no wrestling fan wants to watch, a segment I don't want to watch or be a part of or be associated with in any way, shape, or form. And did I mention I have 101, 102 temperature? So God bless Luke. This is Festus. And God bless Maria for Gallows goes, man, you look sicker than Sheamus, because Sheamus is so white and pale. You could like see his heartbeat like a baby fish or a baby frog. He goes, man, you look worse than Sheamus, which makes me smile and laugh, but man, I'm hurting. And then in comes Sky Val Valentine. And I can't just tell the guy, I hate you, man. You're a jerk and you're everything that's wrong with show business. They can't afford a scripted show, so they pay you peanuts and you get an hour on TV. Screw you. I can't say that, right? So I say, hey, Val, it's nice to meet you. What are the tricks that you'd like to perform for us today? So he's going to do the head spinning around in the box trick. Hey, that's new and fresh and hip. At least he's not exposing, something that's not stupid. And then that they didn't expose on Looney Tunes. And the other is a levitation. He's going to levitate Maria. And I have never seen a levitation be performed. So now I have to watch it because I have to let everyone know where the cameras are going to be, right? Actually, he helped with that because he has to protect his props. I'm not trying to like take credit for it. So he's like, hey, we need a camera here, here, and here. So, all right. I grab these guys. I'm writing some dialogue for Maria and Festus so she can be his lovely assistant, right? And I'm looking at the levitation gimmick, and it's so loud. It's so loud. And he turns it on. It's like, brrr, and it starts to go. I'm like, bro, what? How do you want me to hide this? He goes, oh, well, when I perform it at my show, there's a lot of music play. I go, all right, man. Well, I'll put some music in post, I guess, but right on. And so Maria comes in, and she doesn't have much dialogue. It's like, hey, Festus, are you ready to see some magic? I don't want to be there. I'm just trying to make this go as quickly as possible. So Maria, the first trick they're going to do is the head in the box. Oh, I hate telling this story. So she gets in, and he closes the box up, the one that goes around her body. And then there's a little door for the second box that's around her head, and you can see her smiling face. And he closes the box, and he turns it 180 degrees, and he opens the back of the box. And what should be Maria's red hair is just a red wig that is about 8 inches shorter than Maria's hair when she got in the box, and not even remotely. You can look this up on YouTube, and not even remotely the same color, texture, or anything. Okay. So I'm already sitting there, and the camera guy, what was his name, man? Luis. I think his name was Luis. He looks over to me and he goes, how did you get stuck with this shit? And I think I said something like, I think he knows I like magic. I was talking about magic, and I think he just did this to like screw me over, because I think I might have said screw the masked magician or something like that. And he's shaking his head, and the bit's over. We do one take. Okay. We do one take. And he goes, how was it? I go, man, that was great. Let's get to the next one. I'm ready to go throw up at this point. So while they set up, I go to the bathroom. I got like a wet towel that I bring over to catering. I fill up with ice, and I go back to where we're shooting in this like cafeteria. I lay on a table, and I just put the ice over my head. While I'm laying there, Maria, she's so sweet. She comes up, she takes the ice pack off my head, and she goes, Freddie. I go, what? She goes, don't sell. I said, what? She goes, don't sell. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, every single old timer that walks by here, if they see you, every single one of them is going to go tell Vince. I go, tell him what? That I'm sick as a dog? She goes, no, they're going to tell him you're a little bitch. I was like, oh no. All right. Fair enough. No more ice packs, or at least not in public view. So it's time for levitation. And as the day goes on, you know how it feels when you have the flu. You get worse as the day goes on, right? So I'm feeling like garbage. I can't eat. I'm drinking like Theraflu by the gallon, I think, or maybe it was just tea. And I'm basically hallucinating. Like guys are the worst when we're sick. Girls are tougher than guys when it comes to getting sick, man. I just wanted my mom. So we do levitation, and Maria lays down on this board, and the masked magician pushes the button, and it goes up, and then there's two hydraulics, and one of them stops working. And so the right one keeps going up, which means her feet are going in the air, but her head's not. And she starts sliding, like she goes, whoa, and he goes, oh, hold on. And so he has to turn it off, and I'm shaking my head just in shame, frustration, and entertainment and joy to see this guy get hosed. And Maria gets off the table, and he goes, hold on, let me fix it. I go, all right, man, try to fix it. And I go up to Luis, and I said, look, we're going to send it to the truck, and we're just going to cut right before the gimmick breaks, the rig. And he goes, we can't do that. And Val Valentine goes, hey, guys. I go, yeah. He goes, my hydraulic's completely broken. I'm not going to be able to do a second take. And Luis goes, hey, man, so I think we should just send this to the truck and just cut it right before the thing breaks. So that's what we did. And it is the single worst segment in the history of SmackDown on any channel, whether it was the CW, whether it was the UPN, whether it was, what was it before that? What is it now? Whether it was on Fox Sports, whether any channel, it is the worst segments. So you guys try to give me credit for a lot of stuff and say, Freddie, you should go back and write, man. Freddie, you should go back and save him. Is that what you want? Is that what you really want? Because I'm the man responsible for the masked magician. Sorry to say. Apologize. Now, this is the sad one. Hade Vansen. We received a note from Vince that said Undertaker needed an opponent to run through before the next pay-per-view storyline, basically. Someone had gotten hurt. I don't remember who. And before we could get Taker to Edge, they wanted someone that we could just run through. But they wanted us to have it be someone that could mean something. And so they wanted us to find someone from FCW that we could bring up, assign a gimmick to, basically smash and destroy him for The Undertaker. So it was DeJoseph, it was Fazio, Angelo Fazio, Chris DeJoseph, and it was me. We're called Fazio Lofaz is what we called him. And DeJoseph we just called DJ. And they just called me Freddie. Or at least behind my back, I'm sure they said something else. So the three of us sat down and we started talking about this. And all our brains kind of went to the same place right away, which would be like a cult, like a cultish kind of figure, worshipers of The Undertaker, things like that. We're kind of spitting ideas around and nothing's really clicking. And I don't remember who said it. I want to say DJ, but I don't remember who brought it up. But one of us said, what if he claimed The Undertaker was his father? Who said that? And then somebody else said, well, I don't think anyone will buy that, but maybe it could be like in like a supernatural sense. And I remember being like, nah, either way, he's getting killed anyways, or he's getting smashed on, which, you know, again, we're just trying to make this work. It's, yes, that would be a father killing his son, but he's not really killing him. I just mean like smashing him in the ring. So we try working with that. And we throw it to Michael, and Freebird's like, yeah, you know, whatever. He doesn't care. And we write this promo and this idea that's kind of good. And he's sort of hacking into the network feed, which is not original by any stretch. Other wrestlers have done that before. But we thought this was an authentic and organic way for a character like this to come through. So he started hacking the feed on maybe it was Thursday Night SmackDown back then. And they would be kind of grainy pictures. They'd look kind of like 80s grainy. And he had these messages for The Undertaker that he would come in with and talk about how, you know, like what everyone says, basically his time is nearing an end. And now it's going to be my time. And I have anger and love for you and all this. And he was a British guy. His name was Hadrian. What a great name, Hadrian. I think it was Hadrian Howard. And, he had this act, Undertaker. And he sounded smooth when he spoke, right? Shaved head, bit of a beard. I think the beard matched the hair length. And he looked real cool look. Smaller guy, though. Definitely a smaller guy. Smaller than me. I'm 6'1" right now, like 185. And he was, I can't remember exactly what he looked like. I'm pretty sure he was buffer than me, which isn't saying much. But he wasn't as tall as I am. I'm telling you all this for a reason. So he's cutting these promos and he's doing a good job. And so we get the story approved by Freebird, and then we get it approved by Vince, and we start shooting these little segments, and they're airing on television. It's an ongoing thing. And he's not calling out The Undertaker, but he's speaking about The Undertaker, and you're just waiting to figure out what the reason for it is. It can't just be, I want your spot. That would be stupid. And it wasn't. It was this father-son thing. So we're building up. I think we get 2 weeks of TV out of it. And then we go to Bristol, Connecticut. And I'll never forget it because there's a train station or a train track right by the arena. And we're going to shoot this segment outside on this like graffiti, moss and algae, urine stained wall. It's just real dirty and gritty. And we have like yellow Blade 2 Guillermo del Toro lighting coming from one side and like blue and pink Ridley Scott Blade Runner lighting coming from the other side, and we're shooting him super close, and he busts out the promo, and it's the best one that he's done so far. Nothing in ring, everything on site and on location. So we cut it, we show it, everyone's excited. And it's not showtime yet. We shot this before the show, because this was the taped show, not the live one. So you had more time to accomplish these goals. So we're in the production meeting, and everyone's putting their segments through and all this. And here comes our segment, and nobody said boo. No one said boo the last 2 or even 3 weeks of TV that we got out of it. Not one agent, not Kevin Dunn, not Vince, not anybody. Sometimes we had people on the Raw team dumping on like SmackDown ideas. It was crazy. SmackDown would catch heat, and SmackDown sitting there like, y'all rewrite us the day of the show before you even read the script. Like, no one read SmackDown. Nobody. No one. Vince read it when we were in the production meeting. That's why our production meetings were 4 hours long. So we're all committed to this, or so we think. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Hunter says, "Are we seriously going with this guy?" And remember, this is not a pay-per-view match. This is not a guy that would get any sort of offense off on the Undertaker. It would be just a build-up for the Undertaker to have something to do so he could smash this guy and then get rolling over to Edge. He says, "Are we really going to go with this guy?" And Vince goes, "What do you mean? What's the problem?" And he says, "He looks like he cuts my grass, man." And Vince laughed. And literally all the air went out of the room. Everybody just went, no. Like, you could just feel it. Because now it's embarrassing to the company. Well, at least from my perspective, you put something on TV for 3 weeks and then you remove it with no explanation. There's no way you can do that. Like, that doesn't happen on any show. You could replace someone, right? Like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air back in the day. All of a sudden, they're just a new mom. Or on the soap operas, when they'd be like, "The role of so-and-so is now played by Michael Barnett." I don't know who Michael Barnett is. So I'm sitting there like, there's no way. And Vince laughs, and then Hunter laughs, and then Kevin Dunn laughs, boy. And I mean, he sells for it. You would have thought it was the best joke ever, right? So I'm like, oh man, we're dead. And Vince goes, "All right, dump it." And now it's not just your idea that's gone. Whatever, I had ideas get crushed. Now I got to go talk to homeboy. And I got to tell him that his character that he was so excited for. And imagine you're in the minor leagues, okay? And you get called up to the Yankees. And the guy at first base is a Hall of Famer. It's Don Mattingly. And he says, "Hey, I'm going to show you the ropes, take you under my wing, and you're going to be a part of this baseball team." And you're like, wow, this doesn't happen to anybody. Well, it doesn't. This guy came up from FCW. His very first professional wrestling storyline with the company was going to be with the greatest. He's over the moon. And then now he has to be told that it's not going to happen because he looks like the guy that cut Triple H's grass. It is such a sickening feeling. And it's our responsibility as the writing team to communicate it to this guy. And so it gets broken down to him. He's clearly disappointed. And the question from any artist who wants to work is, well, what's next? Where do we go from here? And I can't tell the guy like, yo, that's a wrap. Like it's done. Like, you got deaded and it's done. The best thing you could do is walk away for a year and come back. Like, I just wasn't in the wrestling business headspace, nor did I have the experience yet to break it down for him. So I just said, I honestly have no idea. I do not know. 3 months later, I think maybe 6 months later, I've now left the company, and I get an email from this dude, and he's left the company, and he's just wanting to act now. I remember sitting there going, wow, like he could maybe actually do that. Like, cause his work was good looking dude. Definitely could play some bad guys for sure. He had a very like stern, mean face and a sharp nose, sharp eyes, like a hawk. Just looked like a guy that would be in a fight with the protagonist in a movie, right? I called my agents at the time. I don't remember where I was. I think it was ICM. You got to remember, I wasn't acting then. I'd never officially like let go of my agent, but I didn't know them very well. And I said, I emailed him. I said, hey, I know this wrestler. He's wanting to act. Could I maybe just get him like a hip pocket deal with you guys, or could he send a tape and audition for you and just see if you like him? Maybe there's a junior agent there that could work with him. The email I got back was, we're not looking to work with any professional wrestlers. And I just sat there. I was like, man, because you got to understand, I love these men and women. I genuinely love them. I respect the sacrifices they make. I respect what they put their bodies through. I respect the amount of stress that they're under with the travel they have and the commitments that the company demands you make. So I've seen them work way harder than I've had to work for less. So I got a lot of love for these men and women. And I don't like when this business craps on the wrestling business, because I think they have some really talented performers. I know we've talked about some of the actors before. I even forgot to mention Dave Bautista because I'm an idiot. But like, look at how carefully that guy has built and developed his career, right? Like he's never taken on too much too soon. And don't hit me with, well, no one offered him the lead in movies. It was just like the muscle guy parts. That's a bunch of BS. I know for a fact that's BS because I know a movie that got offered to him where he was the lead and the man, but he didn't feel ready yet. He didn't want to put himself in that position with a character that he didn't 100% connect with. And at least this is what was told to the producer. And so he didn't do that movie. And you watched him just sort of grow from a monster in a movie to suddenly working with Jodie Foster in that weird hospital movie where he was the orderly that kicked ass. But you saw some vulnerability out of Dave then. Then he keeps evolving. Now he's going to do a romantic, or not romantic comedy. Well, I'm sure he will eventually, but he did a dad-daughter kind of vibe one. He's doing a buddy cop movie now. Like he's really starting to grow and take off. So to see Hollywood embrace wrestling now, I'm always like, man, you just trying to make money off them. And granted, it's show business, right? And we all know business is the bigger word, but they blow so much smoke, man. And I seen them do it with actors, so I know they do it with wrestlers. And it was one of the things that always disappointed me about my business, so to speak, was the way it's so like segregated isn't the right word, but it was like when I was coming up, there were TV shows that I was like, man, that'd be cool. I want to do a TV show. And they're like, Freddie, you're a film actor. You don't do television. I was like, what? I'm just an actor. There's no film before it. I'm an actor. And then Glenn Close did a show where she played a lawyer. I think it was called Damages. And that blasted the door wide open. And then every film actor was suddenly a television actor winning Emmys left and right. And they loved the schedule. They loved the consistency. They loved that they got to play one character for a longer amount of time than just 6 weeks and really start to figure that. That's exciting for an actor. And so all of a sudden that all got mushed. And now you see Hollywood coming in and The Rock kicks down the door. And then John Cena, instead of slipping on ice when he walked through it, he took the frame off. So they can't build it again. And now all of a sudden they're loving wrestlers. So I hope the trend continues. And I appreciate all of you guys and gals listening. And I will see you next week right here on Wrestling with Freddie. This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura podcast network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.